2020, a year that I'm personally excited to see the events of. Now, to start the X-Boys 2020, we're going to review a sequel to a game that we've reviewed previously. Why do you hate me? Now, I like to think of myself as a video game connoisseur, and with my immeasurably unrivaled taste in games, I'd like to say that... Hang on a minute there, son. I don't think you're one of those that word. Well, if it isn't my friend, how can I help you today? This guy played Fortnite for a whole hour. I did no such thing, okay? I did no such... You know what? I'll be right back. He's gone out there. I'm gonna get him now, right? Wait, what are you doing? Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, these punches. Oh, he's got strength. Oh, God. Didn't know someone who plays Fortnite could be this strong. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Can't believe the game you're defending too. Can't believe that's the second time I've had to do that. Oh, silly me. Anyway, where were we? Oh, yeah. Well, back to Resident Evil 6. 3 years after the success of Resident Evil 5, Capcom released Resident Evil 6 to the public. And how was it received? Well, to reviewers it was a decent game, but to fans of the Resident Evil franchise, well...
Excuse me, what?
So at the start of the game, the camera pans around a ruined car, which actually looks pretty nice, I would own that car, followed by a giant explosion which sends people crashing into the front window. And after that, this weird stranger wearing biker gloves grabs a woman by the shoulders, and after tapping the A button so fast that you develop carpal tunnel syndrome, the camera pans around and shows that the character grabbing that woman is Leon Scott Kennedy from Resident Evil 4. And instead of looking dreamy and handsome and glorious, he looks, in my opinion, much better in Resident Evil 6 with his new attire, hairstyle, and face. Now, accompanying Leon is a woman with a good set of super butter buns. Yeah, I said it.
Hang in there, Helena.
By the name of Helena Harper, who, outside of the prologue, helps Leon through his 5-chapter missions. Then you fight the zombie of the day, you go down, you see that everything's in hell, and then you realize that this game is so action-packed that basically it drops every pretense of the word horror from its title. Now, I would cover all 3 plots, but that would mean that this video would be an hour long. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a brief rundown of what each one has in store for you. All 4 of them. Yes, because the prologue has you play as Leon, then you have the choice to play as Leon Scott Kennedy, Chris Redfield, Jake Mueller, he's that forgettable, and Ada Wong. There's a story about Ada Wong's, but I'll get to that later. Now, in Leon's campaign, the president, to which you saved the daughter of in Resident Evil 4, has been zombified by the C virus. Yes, there's another virus. And also, this one actually turns people into zombies. Not Magini from Resident Evil 4 or 5, these are actual zombies. Now, anyway, this then leads to a character by the name of Derek Simmons, who ends up releasing the C virus globally and tries to take over the world. Yep. Because we couldn't have a return of Albert Wesker. Instead, we had to have Derek Simmons, who is so cut and paste that you could have literally had one of the Umbrella Soldiers be the main villain of this game and you would feel no different whatsoever. It's that bad, really. Chris's campaign has him fighting through the Zhuavo infestation, which is basically the Magini, only instead of Chapter 5 in Resi 5 being the only time they use guns constantly, and their mutations are even more nonsensical than they were in 5. Seriously, sometimes their arms turn into shields, sometimes they just become like big and buff and have like tyrant-like arms, and sometimes they turn into a cockroach. Yep. And then there's Jake Mueller's one. Jake Mueller, the son of Albert Wesker. You know, the lack of Albert Wesker in this game already drives me to madness. Well, he's got that magic blood that people could take from him and then use to either strengthen or cure the sea virus and Zhuavo infestation. So a new giant monster called the Tyrant, Mr. X, Nemesis, Ustanak, is sent to stop him so that they can kill him and they can continue the sea virus and Zhuavo infestation so that it goes worldwide. Only Sherry Birkin grows a fondness for him and tries to protect him at any cost, while making sure that she can actually get his blood, while he extorts her for money during this entire ordeal. And then there's Ada's. But first, we're going to talk about pre-patching a game and post-patching a game. Okay, so pre-patch, you would have to complete at least one of the stories to play Ada's campaign. And that made sense, because Ada's campaign is essentially filling in the holes to her sudden appearances in the story, as well as character things that hadn't been established in the other campaigns, so on and so forth. Post-patch, you can play Ada's campaign immediately off the bat, which will then give spoilers to all 3 stories, as well as spoilers to people like Derek Simmons, and the plans for the sea virus and the Zhuavo. Capcom's just been silly sometimes. Now that we've gotten brief plot summaries out of the way, let's go through all the gameplay things that are different from the previous games. It's all different. It's practically all different. Aside from maybe some minor things, the game is far too different from 4 and 5. One thing that changed that I can definitely agree with is the ability to move and shoot at the same time. Because that's something that none of the other games had until 6. You'd just be stood there like... Bleh, 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 bleh. Which, yeah, adds to the horror factor and builds up tension. Also, this isn't a gun, this is a paintbrush. I'm not allowed guns. Anyway, it's a lot better in that regard, because I am 90% sure if I were in a zombie apocalypse, I would have a gun, not a paintbrush, and I would probably try my absolute best to move and shoot at the same time. Because half of me would want to be like, how fun would it be to kill a zombie? And the other half of me would be like, back away slowly in case I get eaten to death. Yeah. That's kind of something that I want to keep an eye on. There's some additional game modes too, like the Mercenaries Mode, which is a return from Resi 5. Takes the gameplay of Resi 6, though, and makes it, in my opinion, more fun than any of the other Mercenaries games in the franchise. Seriously. It is amazing fun to just ignore the story completely and run through zombies with that gameplay. Because the gameplay to Resi 6 is really fun. If you ignore the story and you play Mercenaries Mode as Chris or Leon or Jake, I refuse to say his name because every time I hear it, it's Rice, Rice, Baby, from the Muller Rice ads that we got in the UK at one point. But if you can ignore the story and just play through the Mercenaries Mode, that's enough. There's also Agent Hunt Mode, where you can play as the monsters that you encounter in each of the stories, where you can interfere in another person's game if they're willing to do it. And you can go up and you can play as the monster and you can murder them and force them to constantly go back to the same checkpoint and never progress ever again. I haven't played this mode, mostly because before I had the Xbox One, I played the 360 version and I didn't have live. So yeah. There's also a No Mercy version of the Mercenaries Mode, which I got because I have all the DLC with the Xbox One version. There's also Predator, Siege, Survivors. I've not even touched those modes because they're DLC modes that were made for. Well, yeah, to get the DLC, of course, DLC mode, you'd have to get it. But I haven't touched those modes, so I can't really talk in depth about those yet. Um, I might on my twitter.com. Here's a plug. Here's the URL. Please go to it. And yeah, game modes are good. Gameplay is good. Story's a bit convoluted and annoying and repetitive, but with the gameplay, you can kind of ignore it. Now, that's going to be the end of this review, guys. I'm sorry that there wasn't much in depth about it, but I just needed a quick return so that I could get back into the feel of being on YouTube again in 2020, and it's just ah that hurts. Good thing about this green herb. Now, I'll see you guys next week with a new video, if I'm not playing Tekken 7 through the Game Pass. Okay, I actually finally get to see how these work. I've seen them as pills, I've seen them as just the plant. Finally get to see if just digesting these things will do me any good. But I'll see you guys next week. Um, mm, 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 mm. Herbs are magic!